professor of history at Springfield College in Charleston, South Carolina, here to tell you a little known but very inspiring story about a great event that took place here in the Charleston area about a man by the name of Denmark Vesey and the Denmark Vesey Slave Rebellion of 1822. Or should I say, attempted slave rebellion of 1822, as you'll soon see. Denmark Vesey was born by the name of Telemaque in about 1787 in the West Indies. And his master was a man by the name of Captain Joseph Vesey. Vesey was very advanced for a man who was born in slavery. His master allowed him to read and write. And he read such things as the Constitution of the United States, the story of the independence of Haiti, which took place in the late 1790s, as well as many aspects of the Bible that are not commonly known to the average person. Vesey was brilliant. At one point, he was a slave in Charleston. And in Charleston, in the big cities of the South at that time, if you were enslaved, it was, your lot was a little bit better than that than if you were in the country. Because often you could go out and do some side work, provided that you gave your master part of the money. And Vesey did that in carpentry. So at one point they had a lottery in Charleston, and he won, and he managed to win a substantial sum of money. So he went back to his master, Captain Joseph Vesey, and the following situation took place. Captain Vesey was sitting there one day at the table, and all of a sudden he heard a, "Yes, who is it?" Master Vesey, it's me, Denmark." "Oh, okay, come on in. What can I do for you?" "Master, let me ask you something." "Sure, what is it?" How much am I worth?" "Let's see, how much are you worth?" "Oh, let's see. According to this, Denmark, I believe you're worth roughly about $600 or so dollars." "Oh, really? Let's see here. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Bam! There you go. I'm out of here." "Huh? What? See you later, master. I'm gone. Bye. I'll see you. Hey, wait a minute." And there you have it. Vesey became a free man, bought his own freedom. And he conducted a carpentry shop. And his house, incidentally, was a place that's still in Charleston today. It's located at number 56 Bull Street, which is right here in this picture. You take a good look at it. And which is between the College of Charleston and the Avery Research Center, presently in downtown Charleston. It's also a historical landmark, too. Anyway, Vesey went on to become a lay preacher, as well as a class leader, which in the African Methodist Episcopal Church is equivalent of a deacon. And he preached at what was known as the Hempstead Ame Church, which is roughly where Mall Park or Philip Simmons Park is today in Charleston's east side. And he did something a little bit different with his preaching. He preached from verses that are not often heard in Sunday school or church. He would teach the people things such as Revelation 13:10, which teaches that he that leadeth into captivity shall be led to captivity, as well as Exodus 21:16, which teaches that he that stealeth a man and selleth him shall be put to death. Bet y'all never heard that in Sunday school, huh? Anyway, Vesey went on to do this for a number of years, and then he had this idea. He would have a grand slave rebellion in Charleston, in which they would steal guns from the town armory, set some fires, and they would set off alarm. And when the slave masters came out to put out the fire, Vesey and his men would have their rifles and pow, 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 pow. Once they did that, they would go to Charleston Harbor, get on a ship for Haiti, which was a free country for people of African descent at the time, and sail off into freedom. That was his plan. He gathered people to go throughout the countryside and various parts of the Charleston area to gather soldiers for this rebellion. But Vesey told his followers one thing that was important. "Do not tell the house Negroes," he said, "the ones who get old coats from their masters," for obvious reasons. These were the people who were attached to their masters, so they wouldn't go for something like that. Well, Vesey found out the hard way about that situation. One of his men was a guy by the name of William Paul. And William Paul went over to the Battery one day, which is a popular recreational spot in Charleston today, which overlooks Charleston Harbor. And he met a house slave by the name of Peter Prelude, sometimes known as Peter de Seventies. He was the slave of Captain John Prelude in Charleston. So he was like, hey, Peter, how you doing? Peter's like, well, hey, Mr. William Paul, how is you? I'm fine, Peter. Peter, how'd you like to get down with what Denmark Vesey is doing? Denmark? Who that is? Denmark Vesey. He's trying to start a slave rebellion. A slave rebellion? What are you talking about? No, it's very simple, Peter. See, Vesey is going to gather up about all the blacks in Charleston, right? And we're going to have this army. So he's going to set some fires, and when they come out to put out the fire, we're going to grab our guns, shoot them, and get on this boat and go to Haiti. And you're going to do that? Whoa, you're going to kill them all the masters? Whoa, feet don't fail me. Peter, come back here. So Peter ran off like the roadrunner. Went to his master, Captain John Prelude. Boss, Mr. Prelude, Denmark Vesey and his men, they're going to try to kill all the slave masters. Oh my goodness, Peter, we can't have that. Call out the militia. And sure enough, the militia came. Vesey was in his yard, and they caught Vesey. Vesey destroyed his papers prior to being captured, though. There was a trial, and Vesey and 34 of his followers were sentenced to hang, which they were in July of 1822. It's commonly said in the folklore among African Americans, Charleston, South Carolina, that Vesey was hanged at what's known as the Hanging Tree, which is near the corner of Ashley Avenue and Fishburne Street in downtown Charleston. If you go down there today, you'll see where it divides in the middle of the street. Well, there it is. Of course, the original tree was cut down, and this is considered a regrowth of that particular tree, but it's in the exact same location. Anyway, the city of Charleston worked to see to it that something like this would never happen again. In 1835, some years later, they decided to pass laws prohibiting blacks from learning how to read and write. Because since Vesey took a lot of his inspiration from the Bible, they said, oh no, we can't let this happen again. So they prohibited blacks from reading so they wouldn't get ideas like that again. Then the Ame Church, of course, was outlawed in South Carolina until the end of slavery, which gave it a tremendous rebirth. And the Vesey's congregation eventually went on to what was then Boundary Street, which is now known as Calhoun Street, and it became the congregation of Emmanuel Ame Church, which is still on Calhoun Street in downtown Charleston. Also, the city of Charleston built a fort that was designed to put down slave rebellions in the future. Well, in 1842, that fort became a military school, which we know today as the Citadel, which some people could say is the house that Denmark built, in a sense. So that's basically the legacy of Denmark Vesey. Now, of course, his plan didn't work, and he wound up being executed, but it kind of lets you know that whenever people are enslaved, they are those who are willing to fight for that freedom, no matter what, in any situation throughout history, throughout the world. You can learn more about this in my book, True Stories of Black South Carolina, which you could easily find through various internet sources. My name is Damon Fordham, the professor of history at Springfield College, talking to you about the Denmark Vesey Rebellion.